StreamYard. Yes,
Yay!
we're
Okay.
live. And then let's go live on IG. Checking
Okay.
connection. Hopefully it works. All right. Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. Okay, I'm going to wait for Crystal to hop on. Well, you're already on in StreamYard. So for those of you that are just joining us, hi. Happy Thursday. All right. I'm going to let you in. View request. Go live.
I love this technology stuff.
It's so cool. I was listening to something and they were talking about like taking a moment to like realize how much we've evolved as a people, in like the last like 50 years. So you're going to see me. So we're kind of streaming through multiple sources. So if you see me looking up and down, it's because I've got a few cameras going here. You're a little bit
Totally.
bigger on the IG live, Crystal. Just
I'm a
FYI.
lot bigger.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. We're going to have fun here. Hello, everyone that's joining us. Welcome, welcome. Hi, happy Thursday. It's Thursday, January. January. I'm already in January. The holidays too to us, right? December 15th. So I am Dr. Ada Latino Feliz. I am the founder of the Movement Therapy Institute. It is a holistic physical therapy practice in Davie. I specialize in orthopedics, sports medicine, um, and I incorporate the pillars of mindset, nutrition, recovery, and movement to bring my athletes and my clients long term sustainable goals. So I have my guest here today. You all have heard her before, Miss Crystal Catalina. If you would introduce yourself, tell us a little bit more about who you are, what you do, who you serve.
All the things. Okay, wait. I got to turn this volume down.
I hear an echo.
I hear an echo too. We're fixing it. Okay. Yay. Okay, hi.
Hi.
Let me make sure I get it right. So my name's Crystal Catalina. I am a licensed mental health professional. I am certified in nutrition and personal training. And really, my mission is to teach others how to heal from within by reconstructing patterns of thought, shifting emotion, and stepping into intentional, inspired action. That's really what I'm all about. And that the byproduct of that is illuminating the path to a fully aligned life. Most individuals that I work with are looking to drop some weight.
Got it. Thank you for being here with us. And I still hear a little bit of an echo.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, I don't know that it'll let it go down anymore.
Mic check 1 2 1 2.
It's because of the phone is on too. It's like phone and computer.
Got it. Got it.
I hear it too though.
You hear it? Okay. All right. Well, we'll make this work.
Yeah.
We'll work with it.
We're committed. We're taking committed action.
This is what it looks like. Sometimes it doesn't look pretty, and that's okay. All right. So we're going to dive into a few topics today. And for those of you that are joining us, thank you so much. Let us know if you've been following this series. So the first conversation that we had was on creating awareness. The second conversation was on shifting thought. And the third conversation that we're going to have now is really how to stay in committed action. So, after you're aware that you want to create a shift, whether you're in pain or you want to have better health, you've realized that you need to shift your thought process. How do you actually take sustainable action and then really make it work so that you achieve your dreams or your goals and the life that you ultimately deserve to have? So I'm excited to get into this topic. And one of the first things that we want to talk about is how action is or equals progress towards the goal, whether it's an inch, a foot, forward motion towards that destination, no matter what. So, Crystal, if you could chime in and, we've talked about this a bit, you and and I think that sometimes when we think about the things that we want to do, especially during a season that could seem a bit more challenging, it almost
Yeah.
like we can freeze in that motion. But how do we actually get that engine going and say, okay, this is a line in the sand that I'm drawing and I'm going to make it happen?
Yeah, it's really all about identifying what the areas of opportunity are first, which I think we've done in the previous sessions. And then figuring out what's the lowest hanging fruit.
Mhm.
Like, which one of the areas of opportunity actually feels the easiest to take on first? And then just choosing that one step. Because if we can get some momentum and consistency going in the seemingly easiest thing, even though they're all areas of opportunity, if we
Yeah.
can get some momentum rolling, then confidence is going to raise. And naturally, you're going to step into wanting to do more. You're going to want to take that more action in an inspired way. It's not going to feel forced.
Right. Yeah. And I think that I think about either working out or even just doing, whatever it is, the goal, where you have the initial intention, but then it's like you put on your shoes, you go out the door and you actually take that first step and you get yourself going, kind of start your own engine. Once you're able to do that and then create the consistency, it doesn't seem like this insurmountable thing. Or if you've got tasks of different things that you have to do, like getting through that first task and then the next task, and then kind of like taking little bite size. Is that your puppy?
Yes,
He always joins the conversation.
he's very vocal.
Just so people know where the growling's coming from.
Right. Sounds like he's in pain.
It's not you, promise. But yeah, being able to take those initial first steps and then doing that over and over and over again until we reach our goals. Love
Yes.
it.
Chiron.
It's the real deal. You know what it reminds me of during COVID when the kids used to come in the room? I used to have like one-on-ones with my patients, and my daughter would come in and she'd be like, "Hi." And you're like, "I'm not gonna fight this. Just come on and say hello and then put on
Uh-huh,
your merry
uh-huh.
way."
It's like people are used to this by now, like we're like
For
we're
sure.
up to it.
Mhm. So let's talk about keeping the end product in mind. I think that one of the things that really helps is attaining the vision and
Yeah.
then staying committed to that outcome. So
Yes.
what
Yes. And
what would you say is something that, in terms of a tip or one of the tools that you use in what you do to help patients or your clients achieve their goals?
yeah, the vision is so important. And I would say equally important is figuring out the identity that's required to make the vision happen. Because the vision isn't able to happen in the current identity that we are living in, or else it would have already manifested.
So for example, someone that wants to, compete in, I run, so like a half marathon or even a 5K, or do something without having pain, is visualizing yourself already doing that thing and feeling well, being healthy, strong enough to be able to perform, is that
Sure.
person.
Just affirming, like I've worked with clients before that have never ran a mile before. I had never ran a mile before I started this journey, and so just
Yeah.
affirming I am a runner.
Yeah.
Like I am a runner. It's like I've never been a runner before.
Yeah.
So just starting to identify with that I am statement
I
can be
love
really
that. And
powerful. Yeah.
we have students watching too that, and I tell them, part of becoming a physical therapist or a med school, no, not a med school, but a doctor or a nurse, it's now you're elevating yourself and becoming this medical professional. And this can apply to any other field too. So if you're in school and you're watching it's like step into the person that you're going to be when you graduate, like now. So what does it take in order for you to be that doctor of physical therapy or that dermatology, medical doctor? So I love that, the identity. And it reminds me of, Atomic Habits. James Clear talks about shifting our identity to see ourselves as the person that does the thing. So somebody that is healthy chooses to have and make wiser decisions around their food choices, chooses to be more conscious about, getting good sleep, making sure that they're aware of their stress and how it affects their body.
Yes.
Who wants
Yes.
to be a
I love that book. I'm in the middle of it right now, actually.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. It's a great, great book. So yeah, so keeping the end in mind, remembering the feeling, because action isn't always pleasurable or delightful, like a walk in the park. Like some people think like, oh yeah, we're gonna do this, and it's like easy to be healthy, right? And I'm sure you've encountered that where it's and I know personally as a physical therapist, is having those difficult conversations about, listen, you're gonna go through an experience and it's not always gonna feel good. And when you feel pain and if you feel these undesirable sensations, like let's ride that wave together. Like what does this look like? And to know that we're still on the right track.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Well, I mean, just figuring out once you have the identity, it's important to figure out the processes that are going to get you there too. And it doesn't mean that it's going to be easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. But it's so worth it. It's so worth it to follow through.
Absolutely. I'm going to try something. I'm going to try lowering the volume on my computer and see if that changes. Test, test. No, it's still echoing. It was echoing a little bit more. All right. That's all right. All right. So let's keep going. So, one of the things that we also had talked about was, can I get a little better? Just a little bit, right? And how that little bit can turn into a lot of it over time.
Yes. Yeah, because every little win adds up and is like a link in this chain of wins. And as you link all these little wins together, it compounds into this giant win. Like the impact is huge, but it doesn't seem that way when it's just a bunch of little wins.
Yeah, and I think that it's harder to gauge, when you're going through something. And I think about also being an entrepreneur, and if you're watching this and you're looking to open your practice or you have already a small business, you go through these different phases of like, okay, I have an idea, I want to do this, and then you start doing it and then you're like, oh my gosh, is this really working? And then there's a lot going on, in terms of things that need to take place, and being able to stay the course despite the hardship, despite the fatigue or the discomfort that comes with kind of like the learning curves of what it is you're going through.
Yes.
But then doing it anyway.
Doing it anyway. Focusing on those wins.
Absolutely. So looking at, if we think about what it takes to move forward with committed action, right? And what it looks like to get clarity on our why, right? Because when we make decisions, it's being able to tap into that emotional part of who we are that then connects us to that committed vision, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
So tell me a little bit more about how that applies to the overall theme of staying committed to our action.
The why helps you to stay grounded when you don't feel like following through.
Oh, that's worth repeating. So say that one more time.
The why helps you to stay grounded when you don't feel like following through. It is the anchor
Yeah.
of follow through. And it doesn't mean it's still easy, but when you've got that why that's really, really clear, it helps you to play the tape all the way through when you don't feel like showing up.
So when you say play that tape all the way through, like, can you give us an example, or what exactly do you mean by that?
Yeah. So what happens? What does my life look like if I don't follow through? Who does this affect if I don't follow through?
Right.
What are the, cause and effect? What are the effects of me not following through? How am I going to
Right.
feel?
The prices to pay, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that I do when someone comes in that is new that I haven't worked with, and even when I have worked with them, whether it's like a follow-up or maybe a reevaluation, is I'll have my patients tell me, what are your goals? Like, where do you see yourself 3 to 6 months from now? Or what is it that you want to be able to achieve together, right? While we're here. And then they'll let me know what those 3 goals are. And then I'll ask, why does this matter to you? Like, why is this important? And so many times, there's the surface answer,
Yeah.
and then there's the depth of something along the lines, like, let's say it's knee pain, right? Or shoulder pain. I want to be able to play basketball with my kids, or I want to be able to go for a walk with my dogs or go for a run. And then the realization of not being able to do that, and how that affects emotional well-being, how that affects mental well-being, how there's a realization that so much is put on the body, and when we're in pain, now it's affecting how I regulate my stress, which now increases my tension and my sensitivity to pain. And
Yes.
then it's like, well, if I've let this go for 2, 3, 6 months, and now I've gotten used to this pain, and I think it's okay to live in this pain, then that can lead to things like, and I'm writing that tape, right? But I think it's important that we talk about this, because when we talk about our health, it's not just getting healthy and staying healthy, but really we're preventing like an opioid epidemic, or addictions down the road, where if I can't work out, well, I'm just going to eat whatever I want, right?
It's huge.
Or,
Yep.
worse, it's like, well, if I can't regulate my mental well-being, what does that say about my mental health and how I'm taking care of myself? Which, in this day and age, it's something that is very important to discuss, and be very important for us to be able to check in and have these honest dialogues with medical professionals and professionals like yourself too, that can navigate those murky waters.
Yes, absolutely.
I thought you were going to add to it.
I mean, you said it beautifully.
It's like we're reading each other's minds now.
Yeah.
Did you want to add anything to that? Because when someone comes to work with you, right? What does that look like, for them, like their why? What are some of the things that you've noticed some people have shared with you?
Oh yeah. You mentioned like a lot of times the why is surface level, and really I think that's just part of the human condition. Like the initial response is surface level. That's like that's what pops into our head initially. The trick really is to ask yourself why enough times, almost like an annoying toddler asks why, just like keep asking why to every
Like being
response that you come up
yourself,
with.
you mean?
Yeah, ask yourself why to every response you come up with, until the response hits in a way that is so compelling it either makes you want to laugh, cry, shout it from
Mm.
the rooftops. It needs to have a compelling emotional response, because emotions make us move. Everything
Emotions make
starts
us move.
everything starts in the mind, but what we think makes us feel a certain kind of way, and however we're feeling is how we're going to behave
Yeah.
every time,
Yeah. I
unless we're
remember.
disciplined.
Yeah, and when you say that, it brings me back to a time when I was right before I opened my practice and decided to go off on my own. And I had a great job. My boss was great. I really enjoyed what I do, the people that I worked with, but I wasn't doing well in terms of my body. I was in a lot of chronic pain, and I had been in pain already. At that point, my daughter was 1, so a year and a half I had been in pain. And this is like my feet would swell. I couldn't stand for more than like 2, 3 hours, couldn't go for a walk, couldn't like any type of exercise just would swell my lower extremities and forget standing. And then yeah, there was a lot going on. So, there was a point that I recall that I had a conversation with my husband because he noticed that I was just kind of like down spiraling, and I wasn't sad and I wasn't mad or happy. It was very much a very apathetic, like I'm just doing this, and it's almost like I felt like I lost my zest, my kind of like my mojo, like I just felt like apathetic. And I think that, when I went to go talk to my counselor, it was just this exhaustion of being in constant pain and realizing that I needed to shift, but that I had to make my own way. And then Louis had brought in a stress test for me. And he's like, take this test. Let's analyze this. Let's look at where you are. And everywhere on that test, in terms of my perspective on what I was going through, was like burnout, 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 burnout. Like you
Wow.
seek counsel, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't want to admit that I was sad. I was sad, and I knew that it was circumstantial. And I was just like, well, I'm in a tough period because I'm a mom. I have a toddler. My niece had come to live with us too. So our family dynamics, there was a lot going on. And I think that when we go through hard periods, it's hard to admit, to be vulnerable,
Yeah.
to say, hey, like I have to be honest with myself, and I need some help right now. And I think having the courage to say, I'm going to make a change because I love myself enough to seek the help that I need, whether it's going to the doctor and getting the blood work done, getting your mammogram, getting that appointment, with your counselor or with your health coach to be like, okay, I'm ready to lose this weight because I can feel that my energy is not where I want it to be. And I keep making these decisions that are just not healthy.
Yes.
What would you say would be something that, if someone that has struggled with that vulnerability and kind of realizing that they're not healthy, how do they get over that so that they can reach out?
Yeah. I mean, let's just acknowledge the normalcy of vulnerability feeling scary. Like that's just kind of like a universal human thing. And I think there's a lot of misguidance in society about
Mm,
vulnerability, showing your vulnerability as weakness, especially with men,
mm,
and so I find I've seen it a lot more with men, like they have a hard time saying that they need help.
yeah.
So, and also, women that are very like strong-minded and have been caretakers of everybody else
Yeah. I
for
felt
a
like that was
really long
me, where it
time.
was just like, I'm fine. I've got this. I'm fine.
Yeah. Yeah. The cloak of strength. I got this.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So
Right.
becoming willing to be open to consider that vulnerability really is strength. And you mentioned the word courage,
Hmm.
having the strength and courage
Yeah.
to say, I need some help. And that's
Yeah.
actually really intelligent, because it's like, I'm aware that me not being my most optimal self is affecting everyone else around me. Y'all, like, we need you at your best. The world needs you at your best.
Yes.
You know,
Say it for the people in the back. The world needs you at your best.
Yeah, the world needs you at your best. So, you know,
Yes.
like, it's time to be willing to speak up and say, hey, I need some help, because there's nothing wrong with it. And the world is full of helpers who specialize in the thing that you need help with.
Right.
You know?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then you realize when you go through it that you're really not as alone as you think you are. You know, it's a journey worth taking.
Yeah, and that's where community comes into play. And it's so helpful to have a community that's in alignment to your goals.
Yeah, I love that. You know, you had mentioned too the prices to pay when it comes to getting clear on our why and what'll happen if you don't take the steps to your committed action. I think that sometimes, you know, as much as we want to be optimistic, what drives us is not like, oh, I want to be able to run, but maybe it's you getting better is avoiding surgery or avoiding
It's a big
worst
one.
case scenario.
Yeah.
Right?
It's preventative medicine.
Mm.
And we're living in a society that's very much about wait until things get so bad, I need XYZ, versus let me go ahead and do some prevention so that I don't get there.
Yeah, you know, when I hear that, the preventative piece, it's like, don't wait until you have the diagnosis of diabetes or cardiovascular issues or, you know, anything else that could fall under that category, but being proactive about staying healthy.
Yes.
Right.
I was definitely headed down that road myself. So I'm so grateful.
Yeah, no, me too.
I got
and
it
I
together.
think about, honestly, when I think about the level of pain that I was in, you know, I'm grateful that I was nursing my kid because I couldn't take any medication. So having to deal with the pain without meds. And if any of you have had nerve pain, you know what I'm talking about. It's like the searing that the body part feels like it's burning off.
Yeah.
It's not like it is. Like it makes you feel like you're going crazy.
It's the weirdest pain too. It's just weird.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's worse at night too. So if you're living in pain, I'm here to tell you wherever you are, A, you can reach out to me because we do virtual, but B, like, go get help. If you're in pain, please, like, this is just like, be the person that takes action and it's not like, oh, I'm just going to wait for it to get better, or it's not really that bad, I'm just going to pretend that it's not happening, you know, because
I've got one for you, Ara, because like this is something that I hear from my clients a lot is, well, I've been to the doctor a million times and they just give me like cortisone shots and, you know, it lasts for a certain amount of time until I get another shot. And I'm always going to live with this pain. Like, I'm just being like a client right now.
Yeah, and I've had people that, like, I remember I had a gal for 3 years. She was like, I've been living with pain for 3 years and I didn't realize that it can get better. When she started feeling better and now she doesn't have pain, it's just like, I can't believe I let myself live in pain for 3 years.
Wow, that's beautiful.
That's our life there. I want to get into our next point here. And, you know, we talk about taking committed action. And now it's like, okay, you have the awareness. You're shifting your thoughts. You're like, okay, I'm ready to draw that line in the sand and I'm ready to move into whatever it is in terms of your goal. And then now it's like, make a plan and have unobstructed focus, right?
Ooh.
And being able to seek expert counsel. So Crystal, you know, if I come to you, right, what does it look like for me to be able to, you know, make a plan, or like, where do I even start, if I wanted to work with you?
Yeah, we collaborate together to figure out what feels good for you. I I don't believe in setting you up with all these things that feel overwhelming. Nobody can be successful in that way. You might be for 3 or 4 weeks tops, but we figure out little daily aligned actions to help move the needle forward. And as you get consistent with those, then we add on from there.
Yeah.
So there's 5 pillars of wellness that we focus on: nutrition, movement, hydration, sleep, and mindset. All 5 of them are important for long-term sustained success. But depending on where you're at, you might only feel comfortable with looking at 2 of the 3 or 2 of the 5.
Yeah.
So
And
we
I
might
love
not
that you
even start
mentioned
with all
that.
5.
I love
Huh?
that you mentioned that, because one of the things that, I focus on, and it's so funny hearing your pillars because some of them overlap with the pillars that I use also. So my 4 pillars are mindset, nutrition, recovery, right? Sleep, and then the movement piece. And as we go through each of those categories, and this is in the first session where patients are like, how come nobody really ever talks about this? First. And then secondly, it's like, we don't have to do all of this right now. It's just, can we get the awareness? And
Yes.
then what can we focus on? Maybe it is just drinking and being aware of like getting more water, and then having some like a sleep hygiene where you're not on your phone an hour before you go to bed, or you're going to sleep, instead of sleeping 4 hours a day, we're going to bump that up 1 more hour, you know?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I like that. It's a little goes a long way. And that's the thing, gang, if you're listening to this, that when you work with a professional, meaning someone that is licensed, someone that has expert counsel in what it is that their field is, you're going to get results based on, the people that they've also worked with, and following, in my case, looking at the current literature, looking at best practices, seeing the success that that individual has. Crystal, you have an amazing story of what you've gone through, and that testimony is you, and the people that you've helped. So I think that that's so inspiring, and one of the reasons why I wanted to have you here, because it just shows how committed you are to yourself, and you walk the walk, you don't just talk it.
Yes. Thank you.
Right?
Thank you for seeing me in that way. Yes.
Absolutely. And for those of you that are listening, we want to give you a gift for the holidays. If you mention this conversation, this IG Live, or if you're on Facebook and you're watching this, if you mention it, you do get a $50 promo to your, well, I'll talk to you about me, and then Crystal can mention what she's got going on. So it's going to be $50 off your initial consultation. So again, you just have to mention the fact that you watched the talk on committed action, and then I'll set you up and we'll get you going, get you started.
Yep, same for me. I'm offering the same promo, $50 off for the first month of coaching with me, and there's no long-term contracts. So, it's risk-free. You can come try for a month and see how it feels. And if you want to keep going from there, we'll keep you rolling from there.
I love that. Does anyone have anything that they want to add before we part ways? Crystal, any closing thoughts?
Man, this has just been so awesome. Like this series has really just been so wonderful. Thank you for inviting me to do this. Like I feel so honored that you even asked, and I really think our services are so in alignment with one another. I feel so grateful to know you as a friend and a professional.
Oh, thank you, Crystal. Going through this whole process too, I've learned so much. And being able to hear someone, you have a way, and I've always told you this, and I truly mean it. Your clients are so lucky to have you and work with you. But you have a way of explaining things and really simplifying them, but it's also very powerful. Like it's
Mm.
clear, it's direct, and it's actionable. And I think that that's important, to be able to not only speak, but then to be able to drive those results. And you're about that. So I'm so grateful that you accepted my request, and that now we have this available, to the public, so that people can hear it and be inspired and share it. And then hopefully, we can continue to drive that health to our community and to our world.
Yes. Yes. That's what we're here to do.
Yes. All right, team. So thank you so much for joining us. We hope you have a wonderful holiday season. We hope that you stay committed to your actions. Make sure that you find someone, if it's not us, find someone that you can align with, that really allows you to be held accountable for what you want to be able to achieve, but then also inspires you and encourages you to be your most healthy and optimal self.
Yeah,
So
the
thank
world
you
needs
so
you
much.
that way.
Yes. Have a good evening, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. All right. I'm going to end the podcast. I think. Oh, and podcast. And.